On a cold, silent evening in the city, when glass towers shimmered against the dark sky and people hurried home to warm lights and waiting families, Adrian Crowell, one of the city's youngest millionaires, stood completely still on the marble steps outside his company building. He watched his employee, a quiet young woman named Marina Valles, step through the revolving doors with 2 heavy bags pulling down her shoulders. She always walked fast, always kept her head lowered, always avoided attention. But today something felt different. Something in the way she staggered forward, in the way her breath shivered in the cold air, made Adrian feel a strange pull in his chest. He had seen her stay late for months, always the first to arrive and last to leave, yet never once asking for help or a raise. A strange instinct told him to follow her, just once, just tonight. He told himself it wasn't suspicion, only concern. But deep inside, he knew he was chasing a feeling he didn't understand. And he had no idea that what he would discover that night would break his heart open, change the way he saw the world, and alter the course of both their lives forever. Before we begin, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of compassion, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Also tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? Adrian followed Marina at a careful distance as she crossed the busy street, weaving through the crowd like a shadow. She never looked behind her, never paused. Her uniform, basic, worn, too thin for the cold, fluttered in the wind as she hurried down a side road that most people with warm homes and comfortable lives never noticed. Adrian thought he knew his employees. He prided himself on being fair. But watching Marina walk into darker, narrower streets made him realize how little he truly understood. The streetlights dimmed the farther she walked, and soon the bright glow of the central district faded behind them. The ground changed from smooth pavement to uneven cobblestone. The buildings became older, walls layered with peeling paint and forgotten stories. Marina tightened her grip on the bags she carried, groceries, maybe, though there weren't many inside, he could tell from how the plastic sagged. Her steps slowed as she turned a corner and disappeared into an alley so quiet Adrian could hear his own heartbeat. At the far end, Marina finally stopped in front of a small, crumbling apartment building. The entrance was dark, the door crooked on its hinge. She pushed it open with her shoulder and slipped inside. Adrian hesitated at the corner. He shouldn't follow her in. He knew that. But the cold wind behind him and the silent building ahead made the decision for him. He stepped forward. Inside, the hallway was narrow and smelled of damp concrete. Only one light flickered overhead. Marina climbed the stairs slowly, as if each step weighed more than the bags in her hands. Adrian followed, staying silent. On the 3rd floor, she walked to a door covered in scratch marks, taped corners, and a faded number. She pushed it open and disappeared inside. Before the door fully closed, Adrian heard something, soft coughing, then a faint voice calling her name. Curiosity tugged at him harder than guilt. He approached the door just as Marina re-emerged, startled, her eyes widening when she saw her employer standing there. She looked terrified, not of him, but of the idea of being seen like this, in a place she clearly hoped no one would ever discover. She didn't speak. She simply stepped aside, hesitantly, as if giving him silent permission to look inside. The room was small, shockingly small. A single mattress lay on the floor with blankets stacked around an elderly woman whose face was pale and thin, her breath shallow. Portable medical supplies lay scattered around her, empty vials, old pills, worn bandage wrappers. A tiny electric heater hummed weakly in the corner. On the far side of the room, a cardboard box held canned soup and a half loaf of bread. Adrian stood frozen. He had expected hardship, maybe struggle. But not this. Not a life reduced to a dim room, shared between a sick mother and a daughter who worked tirelessly yet lived on the edge of survival. Marina finally spoke, her voice soft and trembling. She explained that her mother, Rosa, had been unable to work for years due to a chronic illness that required expensive medication, not covered, not affordable, not optional. She told him how she worked 2 jobs, slept 4 hours a night, and skipped meals to ensure her mother could have at least one. She never asked anyone for help because pride was the last thing she had left. And then she said something Adrian would never forget. I just wanted to survive quietly, without being a burden. In that moment, something in him broke, not in pain, but in awakening. He realized how blind he had been to the silent suffering that lived just outside the comfortable world he had always known. He felt guilt, yes, but also admiration for the strength Marina carried in her fragile frame. This woman didn't just work hard, she fought every day for someone she loved. Adrian stepped inside, knelt beside Rosa, and gently introduced himself. She managed a weak smile. That smile changed something in him too. Over the next days, he arranged for proper medical care, ensured they moved into a safe home, and granted Marina a position that recognized her dedication. But more importantly, he chose to walk beside them with respect, not pity, and learned that true wealth was measured not in assets or achievements, but in how deeply you touched another person's life. Marina and her mother slowly grew stronger. The new apartment was warm, bright, and filled with food and medical support. Adrian visited often, not out of obligation, but out of genuine connection. He realized that following her that night had been fate's way of showing him the purpose behind his success, to lift others from darkness into dignity. And in helping them, he found a part of his own heart that compassion had been waiting to claim. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like the video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your feelings, and subscribe to Kindness Corner to support more heartfelt stories like this. Your engagement truly helps keep these stories alive. Before you go, tell us in the comments, what part of the story moved you the most? And remember, sometimes the smallest act of noticing someone can change a life, including your own.